Hello from my home here in Monrovia, Liberia, and thank you so much for joining me today for another thought from the Bible. What an amazing opportunity we have just to dig into what God is saying to us today for just 10 minutes of this day. Thank you for joining me, and please do feel free to share this video around or to leave a comment. It's always so great to hear what you're thinking as well and what God is speaking to you. So recently I've been reading through the book of Joshua in the Bible, and it's a book of the Bible that starts in an exciting way. It's a good read, right? It's compelling. There are big battles and victories and God coming through for his chosen people, the Israelites, in amazing ways over and over again, clearing the land for them, even continuing to help them after they made mistakes and after they suffer setbacks. But then the book, as you read on, it gets a little bit less thrilling, with lots of descriptions about which tribe will inherit which portion of land and which towns will belong to which part of the Israelite people. And it's talking about locations that don't really mean that much to me. You know, I'd have to get a map out and try and work out where it's talking about. It's back into that sort of skimming territory, right? Like, yep, nothing good. Okay, move on. But as I was reading through, it always amazes me how God can speak through even the most seemingly skimmable parts of his word, because there was a part that really jumped out and spoke to me as I was reading through. In Joshua chapter 17, it's talking about the land allocated to the tribe of Manasseh. Now, some of that tribe had accepted land on the other side of the Jordan River, but the rest of the people decided that they wanted to be in the promised land itself. They wanted to inherit their land here. So Joshua told them where they could settle. And when they came back to him and said, yeah, but that land's not big enough for us, then Joshua suggested, well, you could expand into this land. He offered them another area to expand into, but the people of Manasseh, they started to grumble. As we read in chapter 17, verse 16 of Joshua, the descendants of Joseph responded, it's true that the hill country is not large enough for us. But all the Canaanites in the lowlands have iron chariots, both those in Bethshan and its surrounding settlements, and those in the valley of Jezreel. They are too strong for us. They're too strong for us. What you are asking us to do, Joshua, we can't do it. Now wait just a minute here. See, these people, these tribesmen from Manasseh, they are the same people who would have fought in the Battle of Jericho. This is the same generation. These people would have seen those walls crumbling down, who saw monumental odds overwhelmed by the power of God. Suddenly, these people find themselves looking at a new situation and saying, this right here, this is too big for us. They are too strong for us. We are just going to have to cope with what we've got. We'll just have to settle with this small bit of land that's not really big enough for us, because there is no way that we can do this. It's too much for us. We give up. It's all too easy for us to look at a situation and to give up before we've even started, because the opposition looks too much, because it looks too hard, because the battle looks unwinnable. Even when we've seen God come through for us 1,000 times before, we still look at something new and say, well, yeah, he has. But I don't know if it's going to work this time. You know, this is a different situation. I don't know what God's going to do here. Maybe he's not going to come through for me this time. There's a song that's on one of the playlists I listen to on Spotify sometimes called Do It Again by Elevation Worship. And it's a song I enjoy. I love the lyrics, but there's always just one little word in the chorus that's bothered me. See, it goes, your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness. Your faithfulness. I am still in your hands. This is my confidence. You've never failed me yet. That little word yet bothered me for a while, because it seems to imply that maybe one day God could fail us, right? He's never failed us yet, but who knows what will happen in the future. And yet, as I thought about this song in light of what I was reading in Joshua, I realized how much it reflects that human tendency of ours to expect that even though God has come through for us so many times, he may not this time. This thing might be a little bit too big for him. Then this time there might be a reason why he's not gonna move mountains for me. Yet. We think, yes, he's never failed me yet. It's so common of us to think that way. But we can and we should always look back at what he's done. We can and we should always remember his great faithfulness to us. We should remember that his promise still stands, that we are still in his hands. Even if we find it hard to say, you will never, ever fail me. End of sentence. The evidence of our past can help us start to believe that those words are true. You know, back when Joshua was first installed as leader of the Israelites, God told him in Joshua chapter 1 verse 3, I will give you every place where you set your foot, as I promised Moses. Now that wasn't just a promise for Joshua. If it was, he'd have had an awful lot of land. That was a promise for the entire Israelite people, for the tribe of Manasseh, as well as any other tribe. God had already gone before those men, before those people. Of course, they could have taken that land. Of course they could. Trusting in God's faithfulness, trusting that if God was telling them to move forward, that he would clear that ground for them, that as they stepped onto that land, God would give them that new place, that new territory to expand into. Now, the situation may not be easy. Those people would have faced opposition. They would have faced battles. So do we. But when we step forward into the life that he is calling us to live, we will see his incredible victory. We have a choice sometimes in our lives. We can choose to settle where we're at. Might be comfortable enough, might do the job, or we can push forward into something new, into something exciting, into that area where our territory expands, where we can show and tell people more of the wonder of God, more of the times that he has come through for us. It's easier to settle, but I don't want to settle in my life. I want to follow after God with my whole heart and mind and body and strength into the land, into the place that he is calling me to be. That's where I want to be. And you know, when we do push through those situations that seem impossible, where it seems like the odds are overwhelming and there's no way that God can move in that place, one day that can be another moment that we look back on and say, do you know what? He didn't fail me then. He's not going to fail me now. I hope that was an encouragement to you today. Thank you so much for joining me for that thought from the Bible. I'll be back on Wednesday next week with another video, so I will see you then.